It's about the restoration of our republic. We want to educate, encourage, enable the power. We stand for integrity, honesty, self-reliance, self-defense, and most importantly, no compromise on our foundational principles. This is America's Voice Now.
Find America's Voice Now on Facebook and at americasvoicenow.org. Here's Michael Evans.
Good morning, America. You're listening to America's Voice Now. My name is Michael Evans. I'll be your host this morning. Appreciate the opportunity to visit with you this morning. Thanks for riding with us. You know, I am eternally frustrated by what I see as happening in our nation, where we are, for all intents and purposes, being sold into poverty, slavery, bankruptcy by these elites who there's not enough money to justify what they're doing to us. There's not enough ideology and stupidity to justify or explain what they're doing, to rationalize, to give us logical, reasoned arguments for their behavior. And the EPA is at the top of that list. I mean, scandal after scandal after scandal after scandal. Usurping power, private property rights, industry capabilities to institute what? The president's agenda? I mean, since when does one person, don't give me the consequences of elections nonsense. Since when does one person and his personal ideology rule a nation of 315 million? Well, business groups have come out and said that these new coal rules by the EPA will devastate the United States. They will devastate industry. They will cause untold destruction and wreak havoc across all of our economic manufacturing. We don't have any more manufacturing. Because under the previous traders of Bush and Clinton and Bush Jr., we gave that all away to our sworn enemies. China, Russia. Countries that aren't sworn enemies, but are economic enemies nonetheless. India. Guess who came out? I just introduced you to Tom Donahue, the president of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. And I just introduced you to him a moment ago, arguing that any Republican who won't vote for immigration, and he openly just stated that if the GOP doesn't pass immigration this year, they shouldn't even field a candidate in 2016. It's a statement and an act of treason on his behalf. He is saying that the consent of the governed is not as important as a free giveaway to non-citizens who we owe no allegiance to. And now he comes out and says, wait a second, these new coal rules, they're going to bankrupt industry. Isn't it funny? Is that the same guy talking? How interesting that the same U.S. Chamber of Commerce that rails for immigration, which is destructive of our economic engine, our job capabilities in the United States, spends literally hundreds of millions of dollars of taxpayer resources for a group of people we owe no legal, moral, or ethical allegiance to. You see, we only owe them what we're willing to give. Anything else taken at the point of a gun, that's extortion. I am all for helping other people in the world, but I've got to tell you something, America. This is the most generous country by orders of magnitude than any other nation on this blue marble. No one is more generous than Americans. No one has donated more money, contributed more economic aid, more food than we have. Nobody has willingly given up jobs in the hope that we would help to drag everyone else from the steaming stench of the cesspool of their own making. No one. But to now demand that we bankrupt ourselves and we starve our own children and we sacrifice our own wives and our own daughters for the sake of people we owe nothing to, that goes too far. And when it's done at the point of a gun, then it becomes treason. If we want to fool ourselves into donating our lives away and giving up our country by donation, then that's self-treason and that's suicide. But when it's done at the point of a gun, it's extortion. And that's where we are. And apparently, Tom Donahue from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, he's one of the lead cheerleaders. But now on coal, he comes out and he says, whoa, wait. Sounds like the Chamber of Commerce is just basically willing to sell itself to the highest bidder. And that tells me everything I need to know about Tom Donahue and his entire operation and every member. The truth is, these coal rules will be the final straw in the destruction of American capabilities. Capabilities to produce, deliver energy. Capabilities of the American people and industry to pay their bills. Capabilities of American people to actually keep their homes warm or cool. But you don't destroy your only means and method of production of energy when you don't have an alternative. Wind, solar, combined, all alternative forms of energy account for less than 7% of our energy needs. 7%, less. How are you going to replace 60% with 7? Is that some kind of new Common Core math? I mean, give me the justification. Give me the mathematical equation that makes that work, ladies and gentlemen. Find it for me, please. Let's drag Einstein up out of his grave and make him stand in front of the chalkboard and do the equation for us, because I don't see it. The laws of physics don't work that way. And for what? Based on what assumption are we doing all of this? What? The lies of commissioned science? Here, artist, here's a paycheck. Paint a picture of my wife. But take 50 pounds off of her. Make sure she's got no wrinkles left. Make her eyes bluer than they are. Give her a slightly bigger set of breasts. And I'll pay you a bonus. That's what our peer-reviewed science is. No different. Here, professor, do a study. Here's the conclusion we want. Make it look like we want it to look. Make it dire. Make it evil. Make it dangerous. Make us the culprit. And at the end, there'll be a bonus in it for you. I'll get right on that. Says Harvard. Says Yale. Says MIT. Says UCLA. Even other scientists are coming out and saying it's all hyperbole. It's all bunk. It's all lies designed and derived to get you to accept these draconian measures, which have nothing to do with carbon footprints or any other nonsensical crap. What this has to do with is look, think of a coffee press, right? You put the grounds in there, you put some hot water in there, and then what do? You squeeze. And you press all of what? The grounds and the impurities to the bottom. They're doing it on a global scale. But we're the fly in the ointment. We're the one group that won't play ball. We're not, by any stretch of the imagination, the biggest polluter, although they claim we are. But the scientific documentation, real science, not commissioned science, real science shows that that's a pile of nonsense. We're not even close. And the countries who are 1, 2, 3, they don't want to hear anything about this nonsense. You know why? Because they've already got 100% tyrannical dictatorial control over their nations. They don't need this. They already have them enslaved. We're the last holdout. We're the last bastion of uncooperativeness. And these elitists and do-gooders and religious zealots can't flippin' stand it. They can't stand the fact that somebody defies them. They're an ultra minority, ladies and gentlemen. The environmental zealots in this country are a small, small minority. The polls out there show that very few Americans are really concerned about whether or not global warming is even man-made. They don't believe it. And yet, we're doing everything in our power to dismantle our manufacturing capacity, to dismantle our ability to produce energy, President Barack Obama will sit there and say in a blatant open lie, we're producing more oil than we ever have before. But not a drop of that, in fact, far less of that is coming off of federally owned land, which the federal government, by the Constitution's own statement and declaration, has no right to own. It's not coming off federal land. It's coming off private land, where they cannot say you can't have a drilling permit this decade. So in spite of their desperate attempt to destroy the country even faster, we are producing more oil and gas. No thanks to them. You wonder why your electric bill has gone up 40% a year. The EPA is the reason. And they haven't even begun. The new carbon dioxide limits for these power plants will devastate the economy by leading to a steep surge in energy prices. In comments to the EPA due on Friday, the American Coal Council said the new standards would essentially take coal off the market as a power source. Implementation of the rule will reduce American energy diversity and security, stop the development of cleaner coal technology, and increase the risk of higher electricity prices to consumers and businesses. The Chamber of Commerce, led by Tom the Trader Donahue, he says the rules would have an effect well beyond the coal industry by leading to job losses in the broader economy. Hey, Tom, just for the record, by the way, so will illegal immigration amnesty. Just wanted to keep you honest there. The EPA should recognize that beginning with this rulemaking, its greenhouse gas regulatory agenda will reverberate throughout the economy. The broader business community is increasingly concerned about the potentially enormous harm from these rules. EPA should work cooperatively to ensure all of its greenhouse gas regulations are cost-effective, attainable, and avoid harm to... You know what? America, here's the deal. And I'm going to just make it clear. Until you are willing to stand up and say, I'm on strike. I'm not doing a dagnab thing. I'm not showing up for work. I'm not going to buy a darn thing. I'm going to just sit home. I'm going to tend to a garden in my backyard that I've never even thought about before because I never had the time. And the only thing I'm going to buy are going to be some non-hybrid vegetable seeds. That's it. I'm done. I've had it. I'm finished. No more. The 30% of America that is being squeezed and beaten and pummeled and squeezed like a stone to be bled dry. It's only 30%, you say? That's right, because 47%, actually 51%, are sitting there sucking up the resources from the 30. And if you take the rest, they're either politicians or they're billionaires or multimillionaires. And then they've got enough loopholes and they can afford enough specialists and accountants and lawyers and whatnot to get out of paying anything. The rules are written for them, by them, passed by the bought and purchased Congress. Don't you see it? Don't you get it? Aren't you sick of it yet? Why are you still afraid? Because you're taking that antidepressant that's keeping you in a state of apathy. You're drinking or you're smoking yourself into a stupor so you can forget, so you can pretend it's not happening. You're hiding your head beneath the covers like a frightened child. Well, the boogeyman in this case is real. And it does mean to hurt you. And hiding underneath the covers is not going to make it go away. You have a better chance and you stand a better chance of surviving if you get the covers off and you run or fight. But whatever you do, it's better than laying there waiting for your death to come. And frankly, America, I'm getting sick and tired of saying it. You don't need me to point out the treason. It's everywhere around you. Pick up any newspaper. Look at any television program. Look at anything on the internet. Go look at the headlines on the Drudge Report. They scream treason. You don't need me to tell you. You know it. You just don't have the balls to do something about it. We've taken this nation and we've allowed it to go as far as we can let it go. We're sitting here committing suicide. Not even by our own hand. But it's suicide nonetheless when we allow someone to do it to us and we don't fight back. It's not the act of whom pulls the trigger. It's whether or not you agreed to it. It's not a question of who put the poison in the apple juice. If you swallowed it, you were part of it. Then it's suicide. It's not murder anymore. If you abhor suicide, you will do anything in your power. Where is the survival of the fittest mentality? Apparently, you want proof that evolution and the theories associated with it are wrong? There you go. There's no survival of the fittest here. Or we'd be trying to figure out where we're going to bury all these people. Our nation, sadly, is gone. The republic is over. It is dead. We have now become a banana republic with a tin pot dictator sitting up on a throne made of the bones of his enemies. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Freedom of Information Act and how that has become a joke in the Banana Republic because everything is a state secret. And that should have been one of your first warnings. You can communicate with me by sending me email to Mike@americasvoicenow.org.